When doing maintenance on your Humidifirst ultrasonic humidifier, you want to always be sure that you have power completely disconnected from the unit. Make sure your switch is turned off and disconnect power from your 120 volt wall outlet, ensuring no damage can occur. When doing maintenance, be sure to disconnect both top and bottom SandWalk connections, ensuring that there is no power running to the unit. Then simply remove the set screws on the outside of the humidifier to gain access to your water pan. To clean your water pan, you want to make sure that you don't use any finishing agents in your cleaner. Simply use a diluted bleach and wipe out the unit. Do not scrape or scratch at the transducers because you will ruin the transducer crystallized disc. Also be sure to clean your fan filter by simply removing it off the back and rinsing it with water, making sure it is clean and doesn't restrict airflow. To gain access to your unit mount control panel, ensure power is turned off and your 120 volt plug is unplugged. And simply locate the latch, turn it to the open position, and the door will open. You can locate the Humidifirst address and phone number on the door along with the unit's serial number. Here is the wiring diagram designated for each specific unit. Here is your transformer that transforms your incoming 120 power. Here is your R1 relay, which controls your low water safety. Here is your R3, which controls your transducer's operation. Here is your incoming 120 volt power. Here is your F1, which is the fuse for your incoming power. F2 is your fuse for your internal 120. F3 is your 48 volt fuse for your transducer circuit. F4 is your 24 volt fuse for the solenoid and float switch. 21, 22, 23, and 24 are the terminals for your digital humidistat or dry contact points. 1 through 9 is the control harness or SandWalk cable that goes from your control panel to your humidifier. R2 is your timer for the float switch and solenoid to function properly. We are now going to check your surge arrestors. You have two surge arrestors on this unit at 21, 22, and 1 and 2. Surge arrestors work the exact opposite of a fuse. If you tone across it and don't get continuity, then it's good. If you tone across it and get continuity, it is bad. To check the fuse, simply remove the fuse by taking a Tech screwdriver or a small screwdriver with a small tip, place it in the slot directly above the surge arrestor, push it in, and it will dislodge the surge arrestor. You'll have to do it one for each side. And the surge arrestor will come out. To check for the continuity of this surge arrestor, simply take one prong on each one to make sure you don't get continuity across it. If you are getting continuity across it, you have a bad surge arrestor, and you're going to want to make sure to check your fuse. If you keep replacing a fuse with a bad surge arrestor, the fuse will keep blowing. To replace the surge arrestor, simply take it, place it in the two holes, take your Tech screwdriver and push in. You have just replaced your surge arrestor. After making sure all of the fuses and surge arrestors are working properly, we're then going to check our voltage across our transformer. In order to do that, we'll take our voltmeter and turn it to measure voltage, AC, not DC, and then we're going to measure across. We'll find our incoming 120 volts and measure across, putting one side on our 120 and the other side on the neutral. For our secondary side, we'll measure across our 48 volts and our neutral to make sure we're getting proper power. Note, you cannot tone to ground in order to measure proper voltage. You cannot tone to ground to measure proper voltage. You must locate the secondary neutral on the secondary side of the transformer. Once we have measured all power on the incoming and secondary side, we'll then want to move to our fuses. F1 is the incoming 120 volts from our electrical outlet. So in order to tone across, we'll go from the transformer to the top of our 120 right here, and then we'll go to the bottom. Now we'll go to our F2, which is our internal 120 volt circuit, and measure top and bottom. Now for F3 and F4, we'll go to the secondary side of our transformer, as F3 is our 48 volts. Now we'll go to our F4, which is our internal 24 volts. After ensuring all those measure properly, we're then going to check our relays. We are now going to check our relays. We're going to locate our R1 and our R3 relay. R1 controls our low water safety and is also controlled by our humidistat. If our humidistat is not in the on position, R1 will not be lit. If not enough water is in the water pan, R1 will not be lit. R3 controls our transducers and is directly wired to R1. So, if R1 is not lit, R3 will not light either. If our humidistat is in the off position, both R1 and R3 will turn off. When R3 is lit, our unit will be calling for humidity, meaning our unit will be in the on position.